there.
Howdy doody. It's been a while.
It is Southern BS, and we are coming to you live.
From East Harlem.
From East Harlem, 124th and 2nd, also known as P&B's house.
And if you listen closely,
Tosca.
one of our neighbors has something going. You can hear like
major, got some music going on. Anyway.
So,
spent the day with my boys. We went to see a movie called The Opera House. Documentary about the Metropolitan Opera. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but New York City has this little place called the Metropolitan Opera.
They got some people come and sing.
Yeah, one or two people show up and sang some stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we went to see this movie, and it was amazing.
Great. Really good.
So, it is not narrated, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, the focus was on Leontine Price, who was a soprano. She still is, which is very important to note because when she started singing at the Met was when the original Met was still on
39th and Broadway.
39th and Broadway. And it was in the 50s?
In the 50s. She started in the 50s. She's 91 right now. So
think about it. A black woman singing in an opera in New York. That was majorly big deal.
And she was from Laurel, Mississippi. One of the interesting things that I thought was so cool in the documentary is she was talking about when they moved the Met. So the documentary was all about how they had the Met originally and then they moved it to Lincoln Center where it is today. And they asked her, I believe she actually closed the original Met and then opened the new Met. And didn't she close? Well, they had a big gala. So I think she performed as one of the many people in the gala.
But she was part of the closing of the original Met. And then she opened the new Met.
Right.
And when she opened the new Met, Lady Bird Johnson had asked her mother and father to come to the box. So she got to go. She found out, rather, that her parents were in the box with the First Lady. And it just tickled her. And she said that it was finally that her hometown was connected to something of this magnitude, and it just made her so happy.
Because it was such a big deal, they put it on the radio. It was live on the radio, and she was so excited her hometown could listen and hear, and a lot of different stuff.
And the audience, when they stood up and applauded, she could hear it backstage and found out that it was actually for her parents going to the First Lady's box, which was just really, really cool. But this woman could sing.
Oh, she was funny. But it was about the history of New York, famous, and what it took to get this building built and what happened.
And then we're talking in the 50s, it was like $47 million is what they were trying to raise.
That's what they forecast, and of course they went beyond that. But
they had 20-something million to go. They were already more than half over. It was insane.
That was interesting, and who was involved and how it became to be, and the slums that were up there.
And they kept using that word. They called them slums.
They were and you looked at them, they were slums.
They were.
Oh, what a mess.
But the area where Lincoln Center is, that was just really, I had never seen pictures of New York from that part of town in that time. It was insane. It was awful. It really
and they had like old videos, and it was just like, oh my god.
And Peter said that West Side Story was actually filmed there
in that area because it was so, and the Puerto Ricans were there. It was just
So it really was a picture of the times.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So. Anyway, so then they went in and they just gutted everything. They demolished all these buildings. And what was his name?
Robert Moses.
Not real sure what I think about this dude, because I think he did a lot of good. But then I think, he ousted a lot of people because he didn't want the slums.
Yeah, that's when the urban renewal.
Kind of reminds me of somebody else we know.
Yeah, but
it was probably a shithole area of New York.
But yeah, Robert Moses had a lot to do in New York, how it's set up, and out in Long Island and different. And he has something to do with Howard Beach. His hand was all over the making of New York back in the 40s and 50s and 60s.
Now, for those of you that don't know, the connection to Howard Beach is it's not a beach. It's actually the subway stop where you go to get to the JFK on the subway. That's what I know about it.
It's a beach. Peter used to go to the beach.
Okay, maybe it is. I asked somebody, was it a beach? They said no.
No, it's a beach.
Oh, okay. Well, never. But you do take it to the Howard Beach stop.
Howard Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
It's a beach. Well,
I'm gonna take their word for it because I certainly don't know.
Here we are at the tropics. No, it's not that. It's East Harlem. It's not. Why would you do that?
Hey, the Hawaiian tropics places is not always in Hawaii. And no, I have not had any wine or vodka.
I think we need to, the way this is going.
Anyways, we just wanted to check in and say howdy to y'all. But Brian does want to tell you about what Leontine said.
I always thought, when you have these women, and she studied at Juilliard back in the day, and you have these people like Leontine, and coming from sometimes in a rural southern area, people drop their accent. They work hard to get rid of their accent. Especially back in the day. Mm-hmm. And, you want to present yourself. And I, in my head, for some reason, thought that she had an affected accent, much like Tina Turner. Because I thought she was going to talk like this, and she's Leontine Brace. She opened her mouth, and Mississippi fell out. She's like, Lord, let me tell you. I sounded so good. I sounded like an angel. I wanted to kiss myself.
She did. She said that on the thing. I've sounded so good, I wanted to kiss myself.
Oh gosh, then she says, well, I've done that a few times.
Everybody in the whole theater.
She was a funny thing, and she was talking about when they were breaking ground and doing the construction, since she was going to be the opening singer, they would bring her out periodically, and they do a tour of the site, and this, that, and the other thing, and she was talking about, I had this pillbox hat I had to take off because I had to wear the hard hat, but I had this coat, and I didn't, and they said, is this a picture? There it is! There it is! That's Bob. Where's Bob? I know Bob.
And then there's this one part. Okay, so opening night.
They wrote Anthony and Cleopatra for the Met, for the opening, and the guy, they wrote it for them. And Zeffirelli designed the costumes, the staging, he directed it, he did everything. He did everything.
And they had all these, the backdrop was pipes just across. And I'm not sure, I still didn't get the full effect from, just because of what we were watching.
The film was so old, you couldn't.
The pipes were supposed to give you some sort of visual, but then they had this spot where she's on a platform, and then the pyramid comes up around her. The
sides come up, and it makes a pyramid, and it goes off, and it's like they're leaving Egypt and then going to Rome from Cleopatra.
But then everybody that they were talking to was talking about the pipes. The pipes. They asked Leontine about it, and what was her response, Brian?
She says, what everybody's talking about the pipes. The pipes. I didn't care about no pipes. I was worried about the tomb.
She had a tomb to work, but it wasn't the pyramid. It was the tomb.
Tomb's what she called it, because they put her in the thing, and the thing closed up, and it looked like a pyramid covered with pipes, and it was supposed to leave the stage. Well, they were doing a dress rehearsal the day before the performance, and it closes up, and there it sat.
It didn't move at all.
Not move at all.
Bless it.
She was sitting there, thank goodness I'm not claustrophobic.
It was really funny. And just so you know, spoiler alert, it actually did move on opening night.
It got just enough off the stage and then stopped again. But it did work in all this big production. But it was just hysterical. But one of the old Met, we didn't know, it had no backstage space. It had no fly space. It had nothing.
Oh, yeah.
So when they would do an opera, the backstage where all the sets would come in was 7th Avenue.
7th Avenue.
They had everything lined up outside, and they would run it in off the street.
But when it was over, they would put tarp over it and put rope around it to keep it connected to the building.
Yeah.
On 7th Avenue.
Right. Yeah. And they would sit there and say, it rained,
not
snow.
Anymore.
It had old movies of these guys with the sets, and it's snowing, and they're bringing this stuff in during an opera.
But not anymore. Because if y'all have not been to the Lincoln Center, when you come, even if you're not an opera person.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They actually do Broadway shows there. They do the symphony. They do ballet.
New York City Ballet and American Ballet Theater.
They do all sorts of stuff there. But I have to tell you, you just got to go just for the whole experience of it. It's so beautiful. There's a couple of restaurants there. Oh, speaking of which, we did this thing the other night.
We went to the new production of Tosca.
My bestie and his partner took me for my Christmas and my birthday to the Grand Tier restaurant, which is inside the Metropolitan Opera. And then you go in to see your opera, and then on your first intermission, what happens, Brian?
We go back to the restaurant and have dessert.
They have your dessert waiting for you. It was like, I felt so fancy. Right. But I have to say, Peter, Brian, and I brought the average age down drastically.
Yeah. No, there was a table next to us was probably maybe younger than us. Remember them? That guy that kept eating funny?
Yes. He was eating funny. But anyway, so then we went to the new production of Tosca.
Which, thank you, Jesus, it's
gorgeous. It was beautiful. Gorgeous. It was so good. The last production, we just won't talk about the dummy that
man again that just bounced.
It was supposed to be her falling out the window. Anyway, it was tragic.
It was wrong. tragic. But the dessert and the dinner and everything was just wonderful.
Lovely.
It was a very lovely evening. But anyway, so we just wanted to catch y'all up and say howdy. I know it's been a while since we posted, so Southern BS says hi.
We are. Hey.
I do have a couple of suggestions for restaurants, and Brian and I are going to try those at some point, I'm sure.
Alrighty.
Yeah, we're going to try some place with some cheese and some.
I still want to do a ramen restaurant.
Oh yeah, we got to do that.
I wouldn't know what to order, and so I want to go with somebody.
You know what? I know what to order because I love me some ramen. Love me some ramen.
It's in a cup. You put it
so.
in a cup.
All you people out there that would like us to do something, remember down in the comments, please suggest where you. No, right.
Honey, that's not the comments. I don't know what you call it, but that's not the.
But suggest places that you hear, because, honey, since the Food Network has come online, I have gotten so many suggestions about, I watched on the Food Network. So we've gone to a couple places, and we will do a Southern BS gladly.
Right.
So if you have suggestions or comments, just put them down there in the comment section.
We'll go. We'll do.
We'll go. We'll do. Or any place in New York you want us to go.
We can. Figure it out.
We'll pretty much do whatever.
And normally after we go there, they close.
Yeah. Or they quit serving what we went for. But anyway.
I hate that.
But we're so glad to talk to y'all, and y'all be good. And until next time, signing off, Southern BS. Bye.